What's going on, guys, and welcome to my Friday Night SmackDown audio review for September 24th, 2021. I am Graham G.S. Matthews. Hope you guys are doing well and having a great weekend. And I'll just kind of get this out of the way here. We are not talking AEW Rampage in depth here today. I typically don't on these SmackDown audio reviews. I will save some quick thoughts for AEW Rampage from last night for the end of this episode, the Grand Slam edition, which was a great show. Definitely better than SmackDown, which I thought was solid, preparing for Extreme Rules on Sunday. I thought AEW Rampage was a very good show this week. Obviously, with it being Grand Slam, 2 hours, stacked card, no surprise there. We did do, and I've mentioned this before, we did a live stream, RJ and I did, like a one-off live stream. He wasn't on WrestleRant Radio that week, so we went live here on YouTube that Saturday after the first Rampage, also breaking down SmackDown. That was the only time I've ever reviewed SmackDown and Rampage in the same video. Will I make it a regular thing? That was a month and a half ago. I batted the idea around. I might. If I do that, then there's more to talk about. The video's longer. It takes me longer to do. So out of sheer laziness, I probably just won't. So I know this is coming from the same person who watches fucking Talking Smack. It's not that I don't watch AEW Rampage. Obviously, I do. And I review it every week on WrestleRant.com. RJ and I don't typically get around to it because by the time we record WrestleRant Radio on Wednesdays or Thursdays, Rampage is old news by that point. So what I'm considering doing at some point is maybe doing away with the SmackDown exclusive audio reviews, which I've done for the last 2 years now since they moved to Fox. Because again, by the time Thursday rolls around for WrestleRant Radio, SmackDown is old news. SmackDown and Rampage now and stuff like that. So I was considering doing maybe like a second WrestleRant Radio only on Thursdays, or rather on Saturdays in addition to Thursdays. So keep an eye out for that, just because I do want to talk about Rampage. It really depends on how eventful SmackDown, or rather Rampage, is in addition to SmackDown every week. SmackDown, say what you will about WWE, but SmackDown is pretty usually eventful because it's an entirely second brand from Monday Night Raw. Rampage is typically an extension of Dynamite, which is a good thing, and it's been eventful lately since the premiere. There have been some downer episodes, though, so I'm waiting to see how eventful Rampage will remain in the coming weeks and months. If it remains a great show, it doesn't drag, they kind of get some live episodes in there, because the tape shows can be a drag sometimes. If it remains an eventful show, I might consider doing away with just the SmackDown exclusive reviews and doing like a whole different podcast for both SmackDown and Rampage, and then pay-per-view predictions as well. Because right now we do them on Thursdays, but sometimes they add new matches for the pay-per-views on SmackDown too, and Rampage or AEW has their pay-per-views on weekends too, so we'll see. It's an idea I'm batting around right now. I'm not exactly sure, but just an idea to keep in mind for the future. But today we're talking SmackDown from last night, September 24th, 2021. As I mentioned, I thought it was a decent show. I was kind of more so anticipating Rampage, following this show, airing right afterward at 10 p.m. Eastern on TNT, but I thought SmackDown was still a solid show. A much better show this week, I thought, than last week. Last week we had that appearance from Big E, which was great, teaming with Finn Balor, beating the Usos, that homecoming celebration for Bianca at the end. Everything else in the middle was just kind of there. This show, not that it was a home run episode by any means, was far from the MSG episode from 2 weeks ago, but I still enjoyed it for what it was. Speaking of Bianca and Becky, they opened the show this week after closing last week. And you know what? I gotta give credit where it's due with this feud. WWE, Becky, Bianca have been knocking it out of the park with this feud. Now, I'm still not entirely an advocate of Becky going 100% heel, a certifiable, complete heel, but at the same time, she has been playing her role remarkably well. Her promos have been great. Like here specifically, she recapped her, crashing of Bianca's homecoming celebration last week and talked about how, it's cool that, she was getting such a great reaction in her hometown. I'm not really sure what she went out and did and why people would be celebrating her, but I thought I would put an end to it, blah, blah, blah. I thought it was great, and then Bianca's retort was excellent. She was like, yeah, I did what you did. That's why you're upset. I won the Women's Rumble. I won the main event of WrestleMania. And not only that, I did it in the fourth of the time that you did, which is true. Becky was on the main roster for 4 years before she did all of that. Bianca was on the main roster for not even a year when she won the Rumble and then main evented WrestleMania. So that was true. Their back and forths have been great. I'm not sure how much creative freedom they've gotten with these promos. If WWE is writing this stuff for them, which I'm assuming is the case, they've been doing a great job. I don't know what it is with the promos on SmackDown compared to Raw, or if it's just the feuds that are just better in general with the talent that they have. I mean, it's all going to change next week with the draft. The draft is coming up next week. The rosters are getting shaken up a bit. I really hope it doesn't do a number on SmackDown because it's been very, very, very good for the better part of 2021. I really hope they don't really, ruin the quality of SmackDown that we've been getting consistently now for a while. But this was great. I thought it did a great job of setting the stage for Sunday, their Extreme Rules. It's not an Extreme Rules match, but it's a match at Extreme Rules for the SmackDown Women's Championship. And this time, unlike last week, Bianca got the better of Becky Lynch. So I thought this was a great segment, and I'm really looking forward to Sunday because not only has the feud delivered, then again, I'm still not 100% sold on WWE turning their most popular babyface heel, but I think Becky Lynch is a great heel. That was never in question. I've said that since day one. The feud itself was questionable at the beginning, but they've kind of convinced me more than it was at the beginning. Let's put it that way. But the cool thing about this match is that you don't know who's going to win. I'm still sticking with Becky. I still think Becky's going to hold on to the championship for a little longer, keep Bianca in chase mode for a little longer. But I could see a scenario where Bianca gets the belt back, maybe Becky flips the fuck out, and then officially turns on her and goes 100% heel. That is also very possible. So, very curious to see what they do on Sunday and how the match goes. But it should be a great match nonetheless. We had an Intercontinental Championship match on the show. Shinsuke Nakamura defending against the former champion Apollo Crews. Very good match here. They've always worked well together. The problem with the feud, though, is that Nakamura has gotten the better of Crews every single time. Crews, like I said last week or a week or two ago, whenever it was, Crews has not won a singles match on television since... I don't even know, June maybe, when he beat Kevin Owens to retain the title in early June, I think on June 4th maybe. Crews has not gotten a televised win in over 3 months, almost 4 months. 4 months as of next week. That's ridiculous, and they expected us to take him as a serious threat to that championship. I love the Nakamura and Boogs pairing. I'm glad he's champion again. He hasn't really done a lot as champion. He's only been champion for a month, but he is very over. Crews, I really liked him as a heel, and the accent's got to fucking go. We said that months ago. But they've booked him like complete shit over the last number of months. Pretty much ever since he won the Intercontinental Championship. And even a little bit before that. They never really fully protected Apollo Crews. But he's been doing great work as a heel. And this was a very fun match. Nakamura won clean, or he won with a roll-up, I think, which was weird, after winning decisively in the first place a month ago, but whatever. I got the sense from watching this match, Crews is headed to Raw. Either Crews is headed to Raw or Nakamura is headed to Raw. Personally, I would probably put Nakamura on Raw and have him swap places with Damian Priest. Put the US belt back on SmackDown, the IC title back on Raw. Nakamura has never been on Raw. Priest has never been on SmackDown. Obviously, he just debuted in January. But Nakamura has never been on Raw. In the 4.5 years he's been in the main roster, he has been a SmackDown superstar. So them swapping brands would not be the worst thing. And at least it would get them the hell away from each other if nothing else. I honestly would prefer that. If only, one, we can get Damian Priest and Roman Reigns at some point. But not only that, Apollo Crews and Big E can no longer be on the same show anymore. Because still technically Big E is a SmackDown superstar. I guess that'll be officially determined in the draft next week. But Crews... he and Big E have feuded for a long time now, for the better part of 2021. They should no longer be on the same show. And if they are on the same show, they better keep them as far away from each other as humanly possible. They work well together, but I am so tired of seeing that match, as I am now of Nakamura and Crews. It's time to move on. And I can't even predict, this is the next person to challenge Nakamura for the Intercontinental Championship, because we don't know what the roster is going to look like as of next week, so we'll find out in due time. Zelina Vega versus Liv Morgan, one-on-one, as they warm up for Liv Morgan before she faces Carmella on Sunday at the pay-per-view match that does not have a stipulation. I said in my last SmackDown audio review, I'm thinking, okay, maybe they'll add a stipulation on SmackDown this week, like, not hair versus hair. I highly doubt either woman would shave their head. Even in Extreme Rules, no hold bar. Like, I was thinking a Falls Count Anywhere match. Because remember, they had that tag team match last week on the show. Carmella got herself intentionally counted out because she thought she broke her nose or some shit, and she got counted out. So it's like, all right, what's preventing her from getting counted out on Sunday? Nothing. Not even like a lumberjill match or a lumberjack match or whatever the fuck. And I'm not a big fan of that stipulation, but even that would make more sense than doing yet another standard singles match between these two women. But nonetheless, Zelina Vega and Liv Morgan was fine. Just, too short to really be anything out of the ordinary. Even if it was longer, I doubt it would have been much better, but it was fine. Carmella causing a distraction ringside, costing Liv Morgan the victory, and Zelina Vega, for the first time since returning to WWE almost 3 months ago, winning a televised match on SmackDown. She was literally like 0-9. I mean, she lost to Liv Morgan when she first came back. She lost to Bianca Belair, lost to Sasha in a tag team match. She got beat by Bianca at least 3 times. Toni Storm lost to her, or beat her rather. Zelina lost in the women's Money in the Bank ladder match at the pay-per-view. She was like 0-9, 0-10. She finally won here. She lost last week's tag team match. So, I'm honestly not even upset at the finish. It's typical WWE, distraction finish, distraction roll-up, whatever. That code red from Zelina looked really good, I will say. I wasn't upset at the finish, though, because, we know Liv Morgan's getting the match on Sunday. She's not competing for a championship. It's not like you're pinning a number 1 contender. And she's probably winning that match anyway. And if she doesn't, this was dumb, but this was fine. I thought the match was okay, and Zelina winning, I'm not even the biggest fan of Zelina in the ring, but I thought her winning here was fine. I was totally okay with this. We then had the debut of Happy Talk here on SmackDown, with Happy Corbin hosting, with himself as his own guest. So we have yet another fucking talk show in this company. Corbin is a good talker, so it's not the worst thing. But I feel like we have the dripstick shit with John Morrison, which is terrible. Miz TV we've had for a fucking decade. Bayley had her talk show before she got hurt. How many other talk shows are there? There's definitely at least another one. Oh, the Kevin Owens show. The Kevin Owens show. He has his own talk show. That's at least 5. There's probably one more I'm not thinking of. Sami Zayn had a talk show at one point. Maybe not. And again, there's probably more I'm not thinking of. But it's just pure laziness. I fucking hate the talk shows. This was fine, though. It furthered the feud between Owens and Corbin. Because when Owens came out to interrupt Corbin and kind of go face-to-face with him, he got attacked behind by none other than, wait for it, Riddick Moss. Your favorite superstar and mine. Well, I'm just kidding about that. But if you forgot Riddick Moss was on the roster, I do not blame you whatsoever. I forgot the guy was gone too. Riddick Moss, if you can recall, you're probably thinking to yourself, who the fuck is Riddick Moss? Former 24/7 champion. He was involved in the Raw Underground stuff about a year ago before he got hurt. During which, I think he got hurt either during that or a main event match or something. He was 24/7 champion for a while, too. He beat Ricochet infamously on Raw clean one time, which was a fucking joke for Ricochet. Riddick Moss, since the first time I've seen the guy, just screams generic to me. I'm honestly shocked he has lasted as long as he has in the WWE system. He looks like a guy they would like, but beyond that, his physique, there is just nothing there. He is generic as fuck. So him being with Corbin is good news for Riddick Moss, I guess. Maybe it kind of helps him out. I really don't care about the guy, to be honest with you. He was doing that whole thing with Mojo Rawley for a little while. That was short-lived. Who cares? This is whatever. And I saw someone tweet, this is giving me final 2 months of Jon Moxley in WWE energy. And I completely agree. Owens has gotten beat up for the better part of the last couple of weeks now, and it is giving me that same vibe that they know he's on his way out, and they're having him put over people on his way out. I would honestly not doubt. You're probably sitting there laughing, thinking, "Why the fuck would they do this? You're an idiot." But I honestly think that they will have Kevin Owens lose at some point to Riddick Moss. Maybe in their first match, Owens will win, or Riddick Moss gets DQ'd after Corbin gets involved or whatever. I honestly believe they will have Kevin Owens lose to Riddick Moss one of these weeks on SmackDown. Assuming Kevin Owens stays on SmackDown, and I think he's probably moving to Raw, but they could very well both move to Raw. But I definitely think we will get a match between the two, and at some point, and I would love to be wrong, obviously, because Riddick Moss isn't just very good. He's just not very good. I think Riddick Moss could beat Kevin Owens. The same way that Jon Moxley, Dean Ambrose, whatever you want to call him, on his way out of WWE, lost to literally everyone and their mother. He lost to EC3, which was, I love EC3, but it's like, they did nothing with EC3 after the fact because of the reaction that EC3 got in that match, which was no reaction at all. and that was their own fucking fault. But he lost to EC3 on the way out. He lost to Drew McIntyre on the way out. He lost to, I think, Corbin, did he not? He definitely lost to Bobby Lashley in a tag team match. He got attacked by Bobby Lashley. He lost to fucking Elias. He teased something with Nia Jax, which was terrible. That would have been awful had they actually gone in that direction. But yeah, they teased something with Ambrose and Nia Jax, which was fucking bizarre. So, yeah, at any rate, it definitely feels like he's on his way out. And for his sake, good for him. I mean, he's done everything that he can do in WWE. I never really see them pushing him beyond a certain level. They never put him back in the main event scene or gave him another title run, I should say, beyond the initial one 4 or 5 years ago. I just don't see it happening again, so he should probably just hightail it out of there. Nikki A.S.H was on SmackDown. I completely forgot that they were able to appear on SmackDown, both her and Rhea Ripley as the new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, but they were on the show. Nikki had a match with Natalya that was over in like a minute or two. Nothing to this at all. I really just don't give a shit about Natalya. I mean, honestly, they have turned this woman into Tamina heel and face so many times. People will have a soft spot for her because she's been here for so long and she's a women's wrestling legend. I'm not even saying she's terrible, and I've said this for a very long time now, I'm sure she's incredibly nice. But Natalya is one of those people that was there when the Divas division was kind of still the Divas division. So by default, she was far better than most of the women in that division because she was an actual wrestler. Like, she was better than, I mean, honestly, she's probably better than Michelle McCool. I don't know if that can be even debated, but in the ring, she was better than Michelle McCool, Kelly, Eve Torres, a lot of those women that were around at that point. But since we've gotten so many better workers and wrestlers in the last decade, I feel like she's just mediocre, and I haven't really been invested in a Natalya feud or match in literally 5 or 6 years. It's been a very long time. So I never gave a fuck about her as a women's tag team champion. I didn't really care. Tamina's just terrible. She seems like a really nice woman. In the ring, she's just awful. So hopefully this puts an end to this whole fucking tag team feud. I don't give a shit about Natalya and Tamina challenging for the titles again. This division is dead. But they are finally putting Tegan Nox and Shotzi back in the picture. They came out on their tank afterward to kind of stare down Rhea Ripley and Nikki, with WWE finally remembering that these women beat the fucking tag team champions 3 times without giving them a title shot. But I guess we're going to get that match at some point. And the only other 2 teams remaining in this division, with Shayna and Nia breaking up as they should have, Doudrop and Eva Marie breaking up. I'm sure there was another. Oh, Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. That was another team they broke up. And Lana and Naomi was another team they broke up too. Not that they really gave a fuck about most of these teams, but they had teams. They broke them all up. And now we're left with just 2. So expect a lot of Tegan Nox and Shotzi versus Nikki and Rhea Ripley matches on SmackDown moving forward. Speaking of the women's division, we had Naomi come out, making her first entrance on SmackDown in a while. Calling out Sonya, and she was ready to have her match, and Sonya was like, listen, I never cleared this, and it's kind of along the same stuff they've been doing for a few weeks now. But Naomi basically said she wants a match with Sonya. She said, get your ass in this ring. I want a match, and I want a match with you. Not just want a match in general, she wants a match with Sonya. And I don't think they would have her say that unless the end game here was for Sonya to get back in the ring. She said, I'm not an active competitor, I'm a WWE official. We never really found out why the fuck she wants to be an official. Why wouldn't she want to be in the ring? Is it an easy? I mean, obviously she's not taking bumps. But from a storyline standpoint, does she not like to wrestle? Like, for Eva Marie, it would make sense. For Sonya, you would think that she would want to compete. We never really, I mean, I know she got fired in the first place when she lost to Mandy Rose about a year ago at SummerSlam. But they never explained why she wouldn't put herself back in the ring. I thought it would happen 6 months ago. It's fucking September. Maybe there's a hold up there. Maybe she's just not medically cleared. I didn't think it was a medically cleared situation anyway. Maybe she just doesn't want to, but I mean, she's on the show every single week, so I'm not really sure what the difference would be between being on the show every week as an official, as an on-air authority figure, and then being a wrestler. So anyway, I thought this was great. And not only is Sonya probably getting back in the ring at some point, which is great news, we're getting to see more of a serious side to Naomi. Naomi is a heel I enjoyed a few years ago when she was doing the whole Team Bad stuff. She is a better babyface, but I think as a babyface, though, the entrance is cool, she's over and whatever. The glow shit has gotta fucking go. I mean, if this was literally anyone else, and maybe there are people saying the same thing that I am, but if this was almost anyone else, she's been doing the same entrance for years. But I haven't seen that at all. And it's true, though. She has been doing the same entrance for 5 years. I mean, if this was anyone else, they'd be saying, oh, she's been doing the entrance for 5 years, switch it up, she's stale. The entrance is stale. I think Naomi doing a more serious side to her character is great. We're finally starting to see that. She should have been on TV anyway. But the glow shit ran its course a very long time ago. She's got to move on from it, do something different, please. Just a new entrance. I know she's really connected. We don't even know what the fuck the glow means. I never really properly explained that. But like the entrance itself, it's cool and all, but they got to move on and do something new. Because she's been doing this for over 5 years at this point, and it's just beyond stale. I am glad she's acting more serious, though. That is an awesome thing. And hopefully she can continue to do that going forward. And I like that we finally, what a concept, have a secondary women's feud in this division. AEW kind of has one right now with the Ty Conti, Bunny, Penelope Ford, Bunny shit. Anna Jay, I forgot to mention. We have that feud going on right now. That's cool. Raw has a few secondary feuds. Not that they're any good, but they have a few secondary women's feuds. SmackDown had none. I mean, we technically have Liv Morgan and Carmella, but who gives a shit? We've seen the match a million times. They're only doing it to get a second women's match on the show. That feels forced. This feels genuine. I like this a lot. So I'm glad they're finally doing something with their women beyond the title picture. It was a long time coming for SmackDown, which is typically a very good show, but it's far from a flawless show. And they needed to be doing more stuff with their SmackDown women, and it looks like they finally are. So kudos to them for that. The main event saw Roman Reigns and Montez Ford go one-on-one, so yes, this was random. Not random, because Roman Reigns has attacked Montez a time or two on SmackDown, so it makes sense. But it's like they just announced that at the beginning of the show, Montez, he said that he wanted Roman one-on-one. Roman accepted, and that was it. So I really think they should have advertised this in advance. They're all about the ratings and whatever, and they did advertise Roman for Raw on Monday. But they're in this phase right now where they like to just book shit on the fly, not advertise in advance, and expect people to think that, oh, anything can happen. Tune in, got to see what's going to happen. But to that I say, AEW they do great surprises, but they give you the entire card a week out. They advertise every match they're going to do, and they still do great ratings and have great shows. So why not just advertise something like this a week out? If you know Angelo Dawkins isn't going to be there, why not, But anyway, I thought this was a really fun match. Montez Ford, we've said for a long time now, is a breakout single star waiting to happen. Not anytime soon. The Profits have a lot left in the tank. They're still very over. Do not break them up anytime soon, which probably means in the draft, Angelo Dawkins is going to Raw, Montez Ford is staying on SmackDown, and Dawkins will be fired within 6 months, a lot like Tucker was when they split him up away from Otis. He went to Raw, turned heel, fucking got buried, and that was it. So I don't think that'll happen, but you never know at this company at this point, especially if they lose on Sunday and they fail to become tag team champions. Whatever. But yeah, Montez Ford is great. He showed a lot of potential here, a lot of charisma, had a great showing in defeat, looked incredible in defeat here, taking Roman to the limit, in a match that was longer than I thought it would be. I mean, Montez Ford is just the tag team guy, so they could have really had this be over within a couple of minutes. They gave them like 10, 15 minutes, which was pretty cool. So I really enjoyed that. They worked well together. Ford looked great. And I enjoyed the match. It was a fresh match to boot. So my only nitpick is that I would have advertised it in advance because Roman doesn't really wrestle all that often on SmackDown. Make it out to be a big deal. Have him in the ring. And then beat Montez Ford. So afterward, the Bloodline were beating down on Montez Ford. And there was a funny part of the match where Montez jumped on the commentary table because he was going to jump off of it onto Roman. But as soon as he put one foot on the commentary table, just because of where he was standing on the table, he broke it. And it was clear after the match when the Bloodline was attacking Montez, they hit him with a chair, they put him through a table at ringside. It's very obvious they were going to put him through the commentary table before Montez broke it during the match. And that's why it was all loose. I don't think if he was going to go through it that it would have been as loose as it was. But so that happened. But while the Bloodline was attacking Montez Ford, the lights go out and out comes the Demon. The Demon comes out, attacks Roman Reigns, lays out the Bloodline. Last man standing here. He's obviously not winning on Sunday. I could see a scenario where he might somehow pull out an upset, and then maybe Roman gets the belt right back. I wouldn't do that, but still, I think it's going to be a great match. And I thought this was a simple, effective way to build to the pay-per-view. He's not winning. I don't think it really convinced anyone that he's going to win. But still, I thought it was a well-done angle. It was simple. It was effective, straight to the point. So I thought it was a good way to close out the show. An improvement this week for SmackDown over last week. A much better show this week. I really liked the Sonya Naomi stuff. The main event was entertaining. We got Nikki A.S.H and Rhea appearing on both brands now, which doesn't do a lot for me, but it's a lot better than Natalya and Tamina pulling double duty, so there is that. Riddick Moss returned for anyone who gives a fuck. The Zelina Vega Liv Morgan match was what it was. Nakamura and Cruz had a fun match, and I thought the Bianca and Becky Lynch verbal exchange to start the show was great. So 2 thumbs up for me from SmackDown. I mean, at least 1 thumbs up. Thumbs up show here for SmackDown for September 24th, 2021. Real quickly, AEW Rampage Grand Slam from last night, night 2 of Grand Slam week after Dynamite served as night 1. A great show. I really enjoyed CM Punk and Powerhouse Hobbs to open the night. Not open the night, it was kind of like opening this episode because they already had the Arthur Ashe Dynamite show right before this taped on Wednesday. But yeah, Punk's first TV match back in over 7 years looked really good. Hobbs looking great in defeat. You had the Super Click, Adam Cole and the Young Bucks beating the trio of Christian Cage, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus. Great stuff here. With Cole picking up the win over Luchasaurus before they build to Cole and Jungle Boy on Wednesday's Dynamite. So I thoroughly enjoyed that. If you're not a Young Bucks fan, you're probably not going to like the match, but I don't know, I enjoyed it. Men of the Year beating Inner Circle's Chris Jericho and Jake Hager. I don't give a fuck about this feud, I really don't. I like Dan Lambert, and the MMA guys getting involved is cool. I don't know what the end game is here. I don't care about Men of the Year, and I don't care about Jericho and Hager as a tag team, so this really didn't do a lot for me. The 8-man tag team match was great. The Lucha Bros, Santana and Ortiz knocking off Private Party, The Butcher, and The Blade. Good stuff here. Chaotic, frantic. The crowd was into it. Enjoyed it. Miro laid out Sammy Guevara and Fuego del Sol to build to Miro and Sammy Guevara for the AEW TNT Championship this coming Wednesday on Dynamite. We had Penelope Ford knocking off Anna Jay following the use of the brass knuckles, building to Penelope Ford and the Bunny versus Anna Jay and Ty Conti this coming Wednesday on Dynamite. Good stuff here. The crowd didn't really care. They were pretty quiet for the match, but, you know, it was fine. In the main event, lights out tag team match, Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston beating Lance Archer and Minoru Suzuki. A very fun match, pretty much what I expected it to be. If you're not a hardcore wrestling fan, you probably didn't like it. What I do appreciate, though, is that AEW for a while, even especially when they got back on the road, it felt like they were doing no DQ matches every fucking week. Like every show, on every match, not every match, but at least one match every show each week was like no DQ. But it feels like they haven't done that in a while. So this felt fresh. It was something different. You had the Homicide cameo at the end. That was really cool. He's from New York. He's got the, past ties to Eddie Kingston. So I thought seeing Homicide was a great surprise. The cool thing about this show is that it was taped 2 days ago. And beyond like 1 or 2 tweets I saw about it that night, I did not see any spoilers for the show whatsoever. I didn't see the Homicide return at all. No one was talking about it, which was good. They did not spoil it. So I maybe it's just a different respect that people have for AEW over WWE, or just the shows are better. I don't know what the case is, but like even with NXT, we would see spoilers all the fucking time, even when the show was great, which always pissed me off when we'd see the fucking spoilers ahead of time. But this was a good show. I thought it was really enjoyable. You put both Dynamite and Rampage together, and it was just a great week of wrestling between those 2 shows. And I thought Raw was better than usual on Monday. I enjoyed SmackDown this week, and hopefully Extreme Rules, fingers crossed, on Sunday delivers. So, good stuff here. But yeah, that's about it, guys, in my audio review for SmackDown for September 24, 2021, and my, abridged thoughts on Dynamite from last night, or Rampage, rather, from Friday. And if you liked the video, be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. My Talking Smack review should be up momentarily as well. That is going up today, because tomorrow I have my Dark Side of the Ring review going up, because on Monday I'm going to be putting up my review of Broken Skull Sessions with Seth Rollins. So we're switching up the lineup this week as far as what videos are being released when. So keep an eye out for all that content coming soon, and more interviews. My interview with Davey Richards went up yesterday. That'll be up in article form soon in What Culture very, very soon. So keep an eye out for that as well. Have an awesome one, guys. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.